Hey, it's Casey, and this is my this is the part two of some Pokemon game ideas I had. This is the second idea, and in my first video, in part one, I talked about the developments of a Pokemon Stadium 3 and some concepts that I had. Now this is game idea number two for a game design, and basically, Pokemon, they always had 3D games, um from they have a lot of 3D games, like from Pokemon Snap and Stadium and Coliseum and XD, things like that, but they never really had a Pokemon like 3D story adventure mode with the where you could like explore like regions made up in the handheld versions. I mean, they did have Coliseum, you could explore land, but kind of wasn't what we really wanted, I guess, or what we really imagined as far as like free roaming and exploring the wild and capturing wild Pokemon. I know they had like this one Oasis thing where you could leave stuff and then a wild Pokemon could appear, but that's not really the same as having like a whole 3D world that you could explore. So one of the concepts that I had is just a 3D adventure mode or story mode like the handhelds for the console, because it's been something we've been waiting for forever. Like everything that we have now, honestly, I'm not even impressed by. I felt like with X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, we should have had that back when Diamond and Pearl was released. As far as like technology goes, Nintendo has always kind of, as the years progress, you kind of see the deficit, you see the gap in what a lot of these other companies can do as far as technology wise and what Nintendo can do. To be perfectly honest, it kind of feels like Nintendo isn't really keeping up with times in the way they should, like in the good way. Like, I don't know, like it seems like they always like whenever people want something, it's like they do what we want, but they always misinterpret it. Or when they get a good idea, it's like they always like they oversaturate it and flood the market with it and actually do what we didn't want. Like I don't know, whenever they just get something good, Nintendo and just Game Freak, like when Lucario first came out, and he gained a lot of popularity from a lot of the Pokemon audience. Like we thought he was cool, but they were just trying to milk him. Like how they took out Mewtwo and replaced him with Lucario. Like that's not what we wanted. Like yeah, we like Lucario, but they always gotta milk their ideas or always go overboard. Like if somebody says they want like, I don't know, like just like better graphics, it's like that's all they focus on, and they don't focus on making good games. But that's not what we're here to talk about. I'm here to talk about my second idea. So Nintendo has always been a staple, I think, in a lot of just households. It's a household name. And throughout the years I always played Nintendo games from like every series, like Mario, Pokemon, you name it really. But I was never too big on the Legend of Zelda series. I have family members who, they played it kind of religiously. They had all the Zelda games, and they kind of raved about it, but I was just never into it. So, you know, a decade goes by, and I'm getting older, and I'm like, man, I want to see what all the hype is, because for some reason, I don't know, everybody was just chatting about Zelda around this time, and I'm like, man, I'm just kind of curious. I want to see what all the hype is about. So I was in a position where I had some money, and I was like, you know what? And I could really buy any game I really wanted. So I was like, you know what? Let me just try out a Zelda game, because everybody's talking about it. I want to see what the hype is about. So I get it, and it was Twilight Princess. Now, make a long story short, the game was it was decent. I liked everything about it, but I guess the only thing that I really wanted was more like free roam and more like activities throughout throughout like the stories, like main storyline, like maybe you could do a little more free roaming and do other activities that kind of like don't consist with the storyline. Like I don't know, like maybe like crafting different items that help you in the storyline, like little different things that play in the storyline later. But it was more like a game of errands. Like you would get one item, you would go back to a spot and figure out that you could access something else in the same spot you could access before, but now you could go even further because you unlock the item. It's just a game of back and forth. It was a decent game, but I just wish it had more free roam. But the reason why I'm talking about Twilight Princess was the game's map, the game's overlay, the camera angles, the point of view that you had from like the way you viewed Link, the just everything about it was just, it was a beautiful, world. I actually played it for the Wii. I didn't even know it came out on the GameCube first originally. I didn't know it was a remake, but for the Wii. But that overworld was just amazing, and I mean, it was like big and it was like just amazing. It was like a compact, big world. You could travel so many. You could travel underwater. You could travel on land. It was even a part where you got to travel in the sky. So it was just like, it was just amazing as far as an adventure game. And I was like, wow. I think, this layout, everything about it would incorporate beautifully into a 3D Pokemon game. Like if they incorporated those same game features, but they added like a Pokemon like theme to it and like changed the art style around and remastered it, and like they remastered like Kanto in 3D. I think that would be amazing. It would be a nice thing for the fans to actually get to explore a region from the Pokemon's main series from each generation and start out and see them in 3D. It's like starting with Kanto. I think that would be like amazing, and add new features and come up with a cool, unique storyline where you're not some 10-year-old kid just trying to take down a world dominant organization, trying to like just change up the storyline, giving you something else to do, but letting you explore the same regions we know and love from 2D into 3D. I think that would be really just cool. Like if you ever played Twilight Princess, you know what I'm talking about from like the land. Like you could just do so much, and they can incorporate so many of Pokemon's features, like using the dive feature as for swimming, and using like you could travel on your Pokemon. Like if you ever play that game, you know what I'm talking about. I really think that would be a unique twist and just something that we've been waiting for forever. Like I don't know what's taken like Game Freak so long to develop like a good 3D adventure game for Pokemon, or a good a nice little console 3D game for a Pokemon, like where you can just do everything you could do in the handhelds, like Battle Elite 4. Oh yeah. So that's pretty much my idea in a nutshell. But one thing they really need to add, especially, I mean, the handhelds aren't that powerful. Like I'm looking at my handheld right now, and like it's in 3D, but it's like this weird kind of blotchy, pixelated 3D. Like it looks good, but it could be way better. It's not like the HD render or something like that you would like. I mean, it is just a handheld, but I feel like it could be so much more powerful. But with like the console, I feel like they could add one thing Nintendo games don't have in general is voiceovers. They never have voice actors. They never, as far as like other competitors like Sony and Microsoft, no game will ever be able to touch Nintendo. And you can quote me on this. No game will ever be able to touch Nintendo as far as franchise characters. Like the Nintendo like just empire really is, it can't be touched when it comes to household characters and household names and originality. They just can't be touched. I think the closest thing really to Nintendo was Sega, and they fell off years ago. The Sonic series was pretty cool, and the Monkey Ball series was amazing, and they had cool games here and there. But as far as like Mario, Star Fox, Kirby, Donkey Kong, Metroid Prime, they just can't be touched. Like, and I mean, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, and all that stuff, and Jack and Dexter and stuff, they just can't compare to Mario. they just can't compare it to the Nintendo franchises. But one thing that Nintendo never really made is none of their games really have voice actors or voiceovers or anything or great cutscenes or anything like that. Like even in Smash Bros. Brawl, the storyline was so dull and kind of boring and kind of stupid and pointless because the characters couldn't even talk. I remember when Mario and Pit first encountered each other, and then like they basically just showed like memories that they had, trying to say like they were communicating with. It was just so annoying. Like, so it'd be cool if they actually incorporated great cutscenes in a 3D Pokemon game and added voiceovers, you know, and gave your character personality, and like basically you could answer questions and have different responses, but like it doesn't really affect what happens in the game. It's just based on like how you would really answer a question or something like that, and just have everything nice and just a nice 3D remake for console with voice acting. Like, that's one thing Pokemon games never really have. Your character can never speak. It's just like you say yes or no, and you don't really hear how your character says it or what they really do or anything. I remember they even made a joke about it in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Like when you talk to the kid in that city near the I can't think of his name off the top, but the city near the in the water near the sky pillar, you talk to a kid and he says, "Where are you from?" and you say yes or no, and then he like kind of mocks you and he's like, "Yes isn't a play," or "You're from Yes Town," or something like that. So they really, I don't know, I think voice acting and cutscenes in a great storyline will really benefit just most Nintendo games, period. Like, I grew up and I like Sonic for like the longest, you know, but ever since, you know, every Sonic game since Sonic Adventure Battle 2 has been garbage. Like, normally I don't use words, just constructed the hurt, or just use the design to hurt. There's no other really use for them but the hurt. But I mean, every game since Sonic Advance Battle 2 was horrible. Like Sonic, oh my goodness, Shadow the Hedgehog was garbage. They added guns and profanity. It was just, oh my god, it was terrible. I don't know what Sega was thinking, but one thing, the reason I'm talking about that, one thing, even though Sonic couldn't really compare like with Mario and stuff as far as controls, they had the voice acting. The voice acting and music is what really made that game so fun. Like if you think of Escape from the City, every kid who played Sonic Advance Battle 2, that song is programmed into their head. It's just a fun, catchy song that you could always remember. And Sonic's personality was just such a fit for kids, and his energy and stuff. That's what people liked, even though the game was so glitchy and you could do like so many things that weren't really intended to be done. It was so great because Sonic had a personality, and Nintendo characters have no personality, none of them. Link literally goes into people's houses, he doesn't say a word, and he breaks up their vases and steals their rupees, and it's just, there's no personality between them. There's no personality in them. Like, you play Mario games and he's just, wahoo! Super Mario! And it's just, that's it. Like, you don't know how he will react in real life scenarios. You could kind of imagine how Sonic will react in real life scenarios, but Mario, they just have no personality. It's just, I think that's one thing they need to incorporate, and I think it would be a great start with like the Pokemon franchise, especially just giving the characters life. There's no life in Nintendo characters. It'd be so cool to play a game and actually know how your character is and develop a personality for them and stuff like that. So that's my second idea. Just them incorporating kind of a Twilight Princess kind of overworld or overlay, incorporated that with the Kanto region, using the first generation Pokemon, adding cool new features, adding, you know, capable features like you could battle people on the console from the 3DS and stuff like that. Just incorporating a nice 3D render of the Pokemon series from the handhelds that we know and love on console. So that's my second idea. So what do you guys think? Do you like it? Have you ever played Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and did you like the games, you know, overworld and stuff like that? I think that'd be a great incorporation for a Pokemon game. So that's my second idea. And like always, it's KC, and I'm out of here. See ya. Bye.